Just a few moments ago, the heavens opened, and here at the Red Bull Ring, it rained. It rained again, and then it rained even harder. But now the sun is shining. Hello and welcome to Race 2, Round 5 of the Italian F4 Championship presented by WSK Promotion at the most picturesque circuit in the world. This is the home of the Austrian Formula One Grand Prix. In sunshine for the moment, but as you could see in our opener there, threatening skies. A lot of support for the local boy, Charlie Wirtz. This is his home race. He'll be on circuit here this weekend. Momentarily, as we take a look at the pole sitter, fastest qualifier 24 hours ago in similar conditions. This is Il Bolognese, Andrea Kimi Antonelli. If you are joining us for the first time, it is race 2 of 4 this weekend. A capacity, in fact, we have exceeded the capacity this weekend. 40 drivers here for round 5. We'll look at Rafa Kamara, starts out of grid 2 after a forgettable race this morning. We have divided the field into multiple groups. Such is the depth in this, the most competitive junior motor racing series in the world. It rained. There was a torrential downpour just a few moments ago as we take a look at the grid. The Premier Power team on the front row. Antonelli out of pole. Rafa Kamara out of grid 2. Kasper Stuker out of 3. And then Alex Dunn, who won race 1 this morning, out of 4. Conrad Lawson and James Wharton, the Premier drivers, 5 and 6. And then we go to the driver for Team Iron Lynx. In fact, the team drivers for Team Iron Lynx, Maya Work and Ivan Dominguez. Charlie Wirtz, the local boy, out of 9. Nicola Lacorte, his second ever car race, P10 this morning. That's where he starts this afternoon. Zachary David, Pedro Perino, William Carlson, and Brando. He had a great run this morning as well. Alexander Partishev, Adam Fitzgerald, the second Irishman, Kim Wareng, and the Belgian, Jules Castro for Van Amersfoort Racing. Frederick Lund, Arvid Lindblad on debut this weekend is the Londoner. Emo Jr., Jonas Reed, Giorgio Marco Janes, and Giovanni Amaschio for AS Motorsport. Francisco Soldevini, the Argentine, Elias Perendio for Murphy Racing, and Jean Richab, the Singaporean, out of grid 26. 27, in fact. The sun is shining here at the Red Bull Ring, but it poured rain just a few moments ago. The drivers are on Pirelli wet tyres. We will have a safety car start. Welcome to round 5 of the championship. This is race 2, the second of 4 races this weekend. We have divided the field into multiple groups to race races 1, 2, and 3 tomorrow morning before the final 36, race 4. And the final tomorrow afternoon. So when they do set off, the race will be underway. 25 minutes and 1 lap here at the home of the Austrian Grand Prix. To the right of your screen, Andrea Kimi Antonelli and Rafael Kamara. So the clock is now ticking down, 25 minutes plus 1 lap, starting behind the safety car. It is certainly the end of summertime here in Europe. This amazing track built back in 1970 and of course rebuilt, remodeled in the 1990s, and then bought and updated even further by the world's most famous energy drink. Our second visit outside the home nation, 40 drivers on the circuit here this weekend. It's not the record, that dates back to 2016, race 1 at Misano, when we had 43 drivers. We may well still break the record when we race the final 2 rounds. Monza, the penultimate round of the championship, and then we'll decide it for 2022 at Mugello in October. So the sun incredibly is shining. The track is still wet. It's still reasonably warm here in the mid-20s or low 20s, to about 24 degrees briefly earlier in the weekend. There's Maya Work having her first race. So just having a look at the grid, Andrea Kimi Antonelli did not race race 1. Courtesy of being in the split groups. It's the second time on circuit for Rafa Kamara, so some of these drivers have already raced. There is the race 1 winner, Alex Dunn. Conrad Lawson, also his first time out this weekend. All drivers will compete in at least 2 races, and then the first 36 for the final, race 4 tomorrow afternoon. So the race is now officially underway. There is Pedro Perino, second race for the African driver this weekend from Maputo in Mozambique. Car 11 for US Racing. They took the victory this morning with the Irishman Alex Dunn, who's still in contention. It's still a long shot for the championship. Andrea Kimi Antonelli coming into this 5th round of the championship, 219 points, 183 for Kamara, but he had a disaster finishing in position 18 this morning despite leading off the line. And Alex with maximum points in race 1 this morning. Still third in the championship on 132 points. James Wharton, P2 for the Australian this morning. He's 4th in the series on 112 points. And then Charlie in position 5. So a second lap, a second official racing lap here at the Red Bull Ring. The series which dates back to 2014. Lance Stroll, racing for the Aston Martin Formula One team, was the inaugural champion in 2014. The reigning champion is Ollie Beerman, the Van Amersfoort Racing, who had an amazing podium earlier today in the FIA Formula 3 Championship at Monza with the pass of the season down into the chicane. He took multiple victories on his way to the 2021 title for Van Amersfoort Racing. The Dutch team, though, in 2022, well, it's far been one that they will remember. They have really struggled. A good drive from Bramble. This is Meyer on your screen. Car 83, the Iron Dame. She starts out at grid 8, P5 in her qualifying group 24 hours ago. So the Antonelli will lead the field around, and we're just getting word from race control. The safety car will pull into pit lane at the end of this lap, and we will race. It is still warm, reasonably so, here in Austria, so the track will dry at some point. It's just a matter of when. Antonelli, Kamada, Kasper Stuka, race winner earlier on in the season. The US racing cars 3 and 4, Prema 1 and 2, and 5 and 6 as well. Look out for the 2 Iron Lynx drivers, Ivan Dominguez, 89, and Meyer Werg in 83. The safety car now pulls into pit lane. Antonelli accelerates. Race 2, round 5 of the Italian F4 Championship, presented by WSK Promotion. Antonelli out of the Jochen Ring curves. The green flag flies, and we race for the second time here at the Red Bull Ring. Kamada pulls out of the slipstream to try and get some visibility. Watch Alex and Kaspar. Stuka in 37, Dunn in 22. The Prema drivers, they're 1, 2, 5 and 6. James and Conrad. Behind the 2 US racing drivers going very wide is James Wharton. Meyer Werg just ahead of Ivan Dominguez, and Charlie Vats on his home circuit, 5th in the championship, trying to make a big impression here this afternoon. Kasper and Alex, James and Conrad. Good start by Nicola Lacorte. 10th this morning in his first ever car race as one of the Prema drivers goes wide. It's Conrad. Lawson, the Dane, as we lose one of the Genza Motorsport cars at the top of the hill almost inevitably. It's Nicola Lacorte. Bad luck for the Tuscan. His first ever car race this morning, he brought it home in position 10, but he's stranded at the top of the hill. There's Ivan Dominguez just going through. We look for Zachary David. Alexander Partichev, I believe it was the Ukrainian who went around as well. Kim Waring, Brando Balouer, Adam Fitzgerald down in 17th place. There is Meyer, fending off the challenge from both Conrad and Charlie. On the outside goes Wirtz, the third generation racer, trying to make a move as the safety car is deployed almost inevitably onto the track. This is the reason why Nicola Lacorte, his second ever car race this morning, stranded at the top of the hill. And there is another car in the background which looked to be painted black and orange, which means it's likely one of the Van Amersfoort racing cars. We'll try and get confirmation in just a moment. In fact, here it is at the top of the hill. It's one of the Genza Motorsport cars, bulldozed out the way very aggressively. So there is Lacorte still trying to pick up who it was. Who is the other car involved in the background? It's a US racing driver, as you can see. And Nicola, as the safety car goes by. Dunn is in position 3, and Stuka is in position 5. Zachary David and Nicola Lacorte involved in that one as Antonelli leads. So Kamada in second place. Series debutant is Zachary David, the Filipino driver. Take a look at this, going up into turn 3, visibility at a minimum. And also his grip, Nicola just turned around, drives into the side of him. That was a messy incident, as the rest of the field took avoiding action. So on debut in the Italian F4 Championship, and Nicola Lacorte and Zachary David, both of them having their first ever car race here this afternoon, this weekend. And they're both out on the opening lap of race 2. And once again, we're behind the safety car. So the order is Antonelli 1, Kamada 2, Dunn 3, Wharton 4, Stuka 5, Meyer Werg 6, Conrad Lawson 7, Charlie Burt's 8, Ivan Dominguez, he had to take avoiding action in 9, and Alexander Partishev did go through, and he's in position 10. Car 11 in position 11. It's the African Pedro Perino. Still, the rain is lightly coming down despite the image on your screen of sunshine. Depending on which part of the circuit, the rain is rolling in from the Styrian countryside. This magnificent, this incredible circuit, replacing the former Zeltweg airfield. Racetrack down at the bottom of the hill, which hosted the 1964 Austrian Formula One World Championship Grand Prix, won for the only time that he did win a race. The late great Lorenzo Bandini, his only Grand Prix victory for Ferrari. So Jack took a victory a year prior, but that was not around at the FIA World Championship. The former ferocious Österreich ring had a lap distance of some 6 kilometers. In fact, came through the trees in the background on the middle of your screen. The track was rebuilt when the Formula One World Championship abandoned the circuit in 1987, when Nigel took a victory for the Williams team. Came back to life in the 1990s and has hosted at the Austrian Formula One Grand Prix pretty much ever since Red Bull took over the running and the ownership of this incredible circuit. Our second visit outside of Italy as the safety car prepares to come into the pit lane at the end of this lap. Of course, we raced at Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium for the first time in the past. We've raced in Hungary, in Budapest at the Hungaroring, also Paul Ricard in the south of France. And always a popular venue is this, the Red Bull Ring, round 5 of the 2022 championship. Antonelli, car 12. Right behind him is Kamada. They're 1, 2, 3 in the series, and they're 1, 2, 3 on the road. Antonelli, Kamada, and the race 1 winner, the Irishman, Alex Dunn. Antonelli backs the field up. As the safety car pulls into pit lane right now, Antonelli goes through the spray. The sun is shining here in Austria, and they're racing once again down on the start-finish line. The green flag now flies. Antonelli runs a little bit wide out of the Jochen Ring curves. Cannot pass until they start past the start-finish line. Antonelli from Kamada, and once again we race. There's Dunn under attack. Great start by James Wharton. They went 1 and 2 this morning. The Australian on the outside of the Irishman. James around the outside into the Niki Lauda curve 1. Dunn holds him off as Werg goes wide in the background. On the restart, there's Alexander Partishev. Good start from a good restart, I should say, from Pedro Perino. William Carlson, Kim Wareng, Brandel Butherware, and Frederick Lund for RACGP. Wharton on the outside of Dunn. He's got the momentum. He'll have the line as well. Dunn will lose engine RPM as they climb the top of the hill, but James runs off the road. That will cost him. Does not lift. Here comes Casper on the inside as well, trying to take James Wharton, who's 4th on the road and 4th in the championship. Antonelli now starts to accelerate. Dunn under enormous pressure in P3, trying to keep his championship hopes alive. Looking for grip on the outside line, and he finds it. Alex Dunn, James Wharton, Kasper Stuka. Conrad Lawson has got by Meyer Werg. There she is in the background. Car 83, the Iron Dame in car 83. Her teammate, Ivan Dominguez, they're both inside the top 10. Werg tries the outside line on Conrad Lawson. There's no grip as she runs ever so slightly offline. Antonelli, the gap is 1 second exactly back to Kamada. There's Dunn. This is almost a replay of what happened this morning on a dry circuit, mind you. He was subjected to immense pressure by the driver behind him from Melbourne, Australia, by the name of James Wharton. Kasper Stuka looking for his second victory of 2022 as we pass half-race distance. They come onto the straight. Meyer Werk has to defend for Erlach. He comes, Charlie. Wirtz tries up the inside, but the Iron Dame holds off the Austrian for the moment. Conrad runs wide, as does Meyer in the background. The sky is getting ever so darker once again. It was pouring rain earlier this afternoon, and inevitably the heavens will open once again almost before we see the checkered flag in 12 minutes plus 1 lap's time. There's Arvid Lindblad going through. On debut is the Red Bull Junior. As the rest of the field come up the hill, Arvid sitting in behind Emo Fittipaldi Jr. ahead of the Greek driver Giorgio Marcogiannis, the second Irishman. Adam Fitzgerald, Jonas Reed, Elias Perandio, Giovanni Maschio, Jane Richard, Francisco Soldevini. On debut as well in this is the Argentine Kasper now on the inside. Off the road goes Conrad into the gravel, and his race is now virtually ruined. There's Charlie Wirtz, looks good on his home circuit, where both his father and grandfather raced in the past. A really racy run from Charlie Wirtz, dives down the inside. Meyer Werk holds her nerve on the outside, well inside the top 10, position 6. Here's the girl from Costa Blanca in Spain. Take a look at the replay. This is fantastic racing. Just going that little bit wide. In fact, he was helped. Conrad in the gravel was in the top 5, but has dropped way down the order. We'll see where he comes across the line this time. This is Rafa Kamada, 1.6 seconds behind his teammate. P2 in the series, P2 in the race. The order to the left of your screen. Dunn, P3 in the series and P3 in the race as well. The Mercedes Junior. On your screen in car 12 is Il Bolognese, who has had a remarkable run of victories and comfortably leads the Italian championship. Kamada started from pole position this morning. Contact with Taylor Barnard in race 1, pitted for a new front wing, ultimately finished in 18th. Alex Dunn with a victory in race 1 ahead of the driver on your screen now, the Australian James Wharton. Wharton with a victory in the season opening United Arab Emirates F4 Series. As we look at Charlie Wirtz, though, trying to make his move on Meyer Werk, goes through, but Meyer will look for grip on the outside as they race down the hill. The Iron Lynx drivers, Meyer Werk and Ivan Dominguez, 7 and 8. Coming out of the Jochen Ring curves, Brandel Badoer running very, very wide into the grass. Loses a ton of time, rejoins in behind Arvid Lindblad, and just ahead of Conrad Lalsen. That's how far down the order the Dane has dropped. He's in position 16. Kasper, car 37 for US Racing. P5 just ahead of Charlie Wirtz. Meyer Werk, car 83, the Iron Dame in position 7. The Iron Lynx driver, Ivan Dominguez, a spot behind him. P8, this is car 88. Rafa O Menino do Brasil, second in the championship. Desperate to try and keep his championship hopes alive, as is Alex Dunn on your screen. The kid from County Offaly, leading the British F4 Series. He's almost got one hand on that championship trophy. He's P3 here in the Italian Series, which is racing again here in Austria. The gap between Alex and Rafa, 1.9 seconds, 2.3 seconds it is between Antonelli and Kamada. James at the moment just a position off the podium. The Ferrari Junior, in fact the Ferrari Juniors plural, they're in position 2 with Rafael Kamada, position 4 with James Wharton, and Meyer Werk, there she is, also another Ferrari Junior in position 7, trying to keep in touch with Charlie Wirtz, who's in superb form, car 7, position 6 on his home circuit here this afternoon. Ivan Dominguez, who took pole position earlier on in the championship at Misano, ranges up behind his teammate. A DNF this morning for Dominguez, the Portuguese pilot. Better drive though this afternoon. You can see the track is drying, but in contrast, the sky is getting darker here in Austria. Just under 8 minutes plus 1 lap remaining. The gap 2.8 seconds. And last time round, Antonelli a 1:42.96 versus a 1:43.62 for Rafael Kamara. There's Arvid Lindblad up the inside. Big contact with Adam Fitzgerald. Wow, the Englishman versus the Irishman does incredibly manage to keep it going. An aggressive move by the former WSK Euro Series kart racing champion on debut. That was a big moment. Adam, lucky to still be in the race. There's Conrad going through. Smack. In fact, it was Frederick Lund, apologies. It was the Nicaraguan Dane in the other R-Race GP car. Apologies, it was Frederick Lund. Contact with Arvid Lindblad, who's now moved up into position 15. Lund, lucky to still be in the race. He's now behind Elias Perandio, ahead of Jonas Reed and Giovanni Maschio. Dunn runs wide, an opportunity for James. But there's an extra few engine RPM there for Dunn, still in position 3. And James subjects the race 1 winner to immense pressure once again. Antonelli is gone, 2.7 seconds ahead of his teammate Kamara. And then the battle, this for the final step of the podium here this afternoon. Dunn, Wharton, Stuka, and Charlie Verts. Rafa works the steering wheel aggressively. Former WSK International champion, the right rear Pirelli in the gravel. Hold on to it, Rafa. Don't throw it away yet. He's highly rated. Young Ferrari Junior from Recife in Brazil. Rafael Kamara desperate to keep his championship on track before we go to Monza for the penultimate round of the series. And then the championship final at the end of October at Mugello in Tuscany. Kasper Stuka race, a round 1 winner at Imola for US Racing. Virtually a home race for the team from Curven in Germany. Well, we are in a German-speaking country. This is round 5 at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. As you look at the Australian, James Wharton, P4. Has lost touch now, slightly to Alex Dunn. Here's Charlie Verts, car 7 in the background. Maya, she's in position 7. Charlie in 6th place. Looks good here, Charlie Verts. Gets the slipstream behind Kasper Stuka. As they go up the hill into turn 3, an opportunity. Kasper covers his line. Charlie says no problem, and the Austrian tries the outside. He'll have the momentum as they go from the highest point on the circuit, some 60 plus meters higher than the start-finish line, and they race down the hill. He gets the slipstream. Antonelli now 3 seconds ahead of Kamara. Dunn is also escaping from this battle. James in position 4. Kasper Stuka 5. Charlie Verts desperate to try and get by the pole. The track is drying. The sky is getting darker. Race 2, round 5 of the Italian F4 Championship, presented by WSK Promotion. Will we get another downpour before the checkered flag comes out? It's a 50-50 bet at the moment. No problem for Antonelli in the dry, in the wet. The Mercedes Junior untouchable here this afternoon. Kasper works the steering wheel. This is the race leader on your screen. This part of the circuit down through the Jochenring curves as he slides sideways on the exit. It's almost dry. We'll check the gap. Last time around it was 3.4 seconds. And he's pulled away further than that. Into the gravel. That is Adam Fitzgerald. And the Galway hooker car goes sailing off the circuit. Not the best run for the R-Race GP drivers. Lund turned around. He's still in 19th and Adam in P25. Antonelli 3.6 seconds as Alex Dunn, I can tell you, has just set the fastest lap of the race. A 142.3 versus a 142.4. He won't catch Antonelli. It's a long shot if he will get Rafael Kamara as well, as we go to 3 minutes 30 plus 1 lap left on the clock. But Alex Dunn lapping faster than anyone for US Racing here this afternoon. The race leader, the championship leader on your screen, Andrea Kimi Antonelli. Confirmation at the bottom of your screen. Alex, he's absolutely flying. The track is drying, the sky is getting darker. The dying stages of race 2. Round 5 of the Italian Championship here at the fabulous Red Bull Ring. You can see that part of the circuit is in fact dry as they go through turns 7 and 8 down to the Ring curves. At this legendary, this historic circuit, this is Rafael Camara driving the wheels off the 88 Prema car. Alex is coming in the background. The gap was 3.2 seconds. We'll check it as they come across the line. Sideways down through the Ring curves from Antonelli. The gap from him back to his teammate is over 4 seconds. He'll be praying for the checkered flag to come out. This is Rafael Camara, the former WSK Champions Cup kart racing champion, Super Master Series champion as well. Just over 2 minutes plus 1 lap remaining. There is Dunn. The gap is down to 2.7 seconds. Dunn is catching Camara. He's taken almost 1 second out of the Brazilian that time. So the Mercedes AMG Junior in position 1, the Ferrari Junior in position 2, and the highly rated young Irish driver, Alex Dunn in P3. There's Casper Stuka. James on the outside. Watch Charlie in the background. Stuka just withholds or holds the position from the 2 Prema Power Team drivers. Charlie goes through, and the Austrian takes the Australian in the dying stages. They make contact going up the hill. James Wharton and Casper Stuka almost turn it into a rallycross race. Charlie Vert's an intelligent drive, capitalized on that. Charlie now inside the top 5. As the Prema Power Team nervously look on from pit lane here. Their boys run 1 and 2. Antonelli on your screen. That was Camara in the background, recovering from virtually a DNF this morning. It was position 18, but he got no points out of it. The gap is now 4 seconds dead. Dunn is catching Camara, and it looks as though next time round will be the penultimate lap. It is 25 minutes plus 1 lap. So he has to go round at least 2 more times. Dunn in the background, that gives the Irishman hope. It is getting darker here at the Red Bull Ring. We'll check the gap, not between Antonelli and Camara, unless Andrea throws it away. He'll take the victory here. Dunn looks for the water, the standing water on the circuit, into the Niki Lauda curve 1 and then climbs the hill. The gap, half a second that time. A 1:41.87 for Alex versus a 1:42.4. Almost 1 second a lap faster is Alex Dunn for US Racing than Rafael Camara in position 2. The Mercedes Junior in position 1. Confirmation at the bottom of your screen. This is the penultimate lap of the race. Unless Camara does something silly, he'll hold off, you would think. The challenge from Dunn, who's absolutely flying down the far part of the circuit. Antonelli with 4 seconds, he's controlling the pace out of the Roush curve down into turns 6, 7, 8 and into the Ring curves on this incredible circuit. Sideways on the exit. There's Camara in the background, and there's Dunn. The gap surely is too much. It's 2.2 seconds at the moment. A 1:41.8 versus a 1:42.4 between Dunn in position 3 and Camara in position 2. 1, 2, 3 on the road and 1, 2, 3 in the championship as well. Ultimo giro per il Bolognese. The last lap for the boy from Bologna. Andrea Kimi Antonelli will come across the line with 4.3 kilometres to race here this afternoon. The rain holds off for the moment. This is the final lap. There's Dunn closing in on the back of Camara. It would be one almighty challenge from the Irishman on the back of the Brazilian, trying to keep those Pirelli tyres alive. Out of the Niki Lauda curve 1, Antonelli, the gap is 4.5 seconds. A 1:41.5 versus a 1:42.1. 0.6 of a second again from Dunn. Carving up to the back of Rafael Camara, taking chunks of time out of the South American, but it's the Italian in P1. We go further back into the pack. Here's Arvid Lindblad on the outside. Pedro Perino, bang! Runs into the back. One of the BBM cars, it looked to be William Carlson, who's stranded at the top of the hill. That's brought out the yellow flag. as Antonelli, the championship leader, on his way to victory here this afternoon. Perino and Carlson coming together, which leaves Francisco Soldevini, the Argentine, as the final runner here this afternoon. The gap, 4.8 seconds between Antonelli and Kamada. It would be a Prema 1-2 once again. Dunn got the weekend underway with a victory in race 1 here this morning. He won't catch Kamada. Nobody will catch Il Bolognese out of the Jochen curves for the final time. That checkered flag is about to wave, and the Mercedes AMG Junior takes victory in race 2 here at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. Fabulous drive. Dunn's right there. Dunn's on the back of Kamada, but the boy from Brazil holds on to position 2. Alex Holm in P3, just ahead of his teammate Kasper Stuka. A fine drive to position 5 for Charlie Wirtz. James Wharton P6. Maya Work, she crosses the line in 7. And the battle, the final positions. Wow, it got very messy there. Emmo Fittipaldi turned around in the final corner. Was in position 13, but drops way down the order. And comes across the line now behind Frederick Lund, who had himself a very eventful race. Emmo position 17, Frederick Lund 16, but this is the race winner. Another victory in 2022, and almost one hand on the championship trophy for the Italian, the Mercedes AMG Junior. Emmo Fittipaldi coming together there with Elias Perandio. They made contact, the Murphy Racing driver, together with the South American for Van Amersfoort Racing. Kim Waring just ahead. Oh, wow. Smack into the back. We'll see if the stewards have anything to say about that. They'll have nothing to say except bravo to Andrea Kimi Antonelli. Took the victory from Rafael Kamada, who almost threw away second place, but does come home in position 2. So first, second, third in the championship. Finish first, second, and third here this afternoon. Antonelli, position 1 after taking pole position in similar conditions yesterday. Pulls into pit lane, victorious. Car 12, position 1. Once again, Rafael Kamada makes it a Prema 1-2, and Alex Dunn came from the clouds to finish in P3, right on the tail of Rafael Kamada. In fact, just a 1/10 of a second behind the Ferrari Junior. Stuka 4, Wirtz 5. That was a fine drive from Charlie, the Austrian from the Australian. Maya Werg, she was a great 7th place ahead of Ivan Dominguez. Conrad Larsen recovers for 9th, and another strong run inside the top 10 for Brando Badoer. Second ever car race for the Londoner, Arvid Lindblad 11. Ahead of Kim Waring, Elias Perandio for Murphy Racing. Not far outside the top 10. Jules Castro, Marco Janes, Lund, Fittipaldi, Maschio, Partishev, Jean Richard, Jonas Reed, Adam Fitzgerald and Francisco Soldevini, the Argentine, takes the checkered flag as the final finisher in his first ever car race. And now it's raining. Just in time. Antonelli steps out of the car as raindrops start to fall on the window of our commentary box here at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. There's Rafa to the left of your screen. Andre. Alex Dunn, position 3, the kid from County Offaly. 3rd in the championship. That's still to fight for. 2nd and 3rd, Rafael Kamada. The Mercedes Junior there with Gwen Legru. As we take a look at the highlights of race 2 here at the Red Bull Ring. We started behind the safety car, and after 2 laps he pulled into pit lane and Antonelli was gone. The US racing drivers, Kasper Stuka and Alex Dunn, went side by side up into turn 1. Conrad Larsen and James Wharton for Prema Power Team doing likewise. Disappointing for Conrad, would ultimately finish in P9 after contact mid-race. Maya Werg holding off both Charlie Wirtz and Conrad Larsen until the Austrian would go through. This brought out the safety car once again. Zachary David and Nicola Lacorte both making their car racing debut here this weekend. And once again, the safety car back into pit lane. And this time, Antonelli was gone for good. Better run this afternoon for the Londoner. Well, except for that incident. Results-wise, he finishes in 11th, just a place outside the top 10. That's Arvid Lindblad, Kasper Stuka, James Wharton, and Charlie Wirtz. The Austrian taking the Australian, Kasper in position 4, Dunn 3rd, Kamada 2nd, but Antonelli takes yet another victory in the 2022 Italian F4 Championship presented by WSK Promotion. The visor goes up on the bell helmet, and Antonelli will stand on the top step of the podium once again this afternoon. Just light rain starting to fall again here, and the forecast tomorrow, well, it's not much better. Summer is over here in Europe. Antonelli takes the victory and consolidates his lead in the championship. One hand on the trophy for the Mercedes Junior. The three-pointed star on that belt helmet, the AMG logo. As his friend and compatriot, Alex Powell, makes world headlines to the right side of Toto Wolff down at Monza this weekend. The Mercedes Junior, or juniors plural, are starring this weekend. The 10th of September, race 2. Don't forget tomorrow, race 3, and then race 4 tomorrow afternoon for the best 36 out of the first 3 effective heat races here at the Red Bull Ring. Just waiting for the drivers to make their way up onto the podium, ironically. As we told you throughout the race, 1st, 2nd, 3rd in the race are also 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in the championship. Race 3 to take place tomorrow morning at 10:30 local time. The penultimate round of the series in early October at Monza, which is, well, otherwise occupied this weekend, the legendary Italian circuit, and the championship final on the 23rd of October. That is at the home of the Tuscan, or the Italian MotoGP, the Mugello circuit. The Ferrari-owned Mugello circuit is likely to crown a Mercedes Junior as the champion for 2022. The drivers now finally make their way out onto the podium. P1 this morning, but P3 this afternoon. For the kid from County Offaly, the Irishman Alex Dunn, 3rd place for US Racing. He just came home, just a 10th of a second behind the boy from Brazil, Rafael Kamada, in P2. Yet another victory for Andrea Kimi Antonelli. P1 for the Italian here in Austria this afternoon.
Now for the awards giving Raffaele Giammaria, Scuola Federale Sport with the trophy for Alex Dunn. Our 2nd place driver, Raffaele Giammaria, and also the winner's trophy for Andrea Kimi.
Thanks for your company here at the Red Bull Ring. We'll see you back tomorrow morning for race 3 at 10:30 local time. We'll see you then.